take some time to bring it on with your email questions. And Pat, this first one comes from David, who says, is it really wrong to play the lottery? I very seldom play, but when the jackpot's really big, I'll buy a few tickets. This week, the Powerball jackpot is $1.3 billion. I only do this if my tithes and bills are paid.
You have a much greater chance of being struck by an asteroid than you have of winning the lottery. The odds are unbelievably against you. But, you know, the thing is, we as Christians should not want to get rich quick through some lottery or some gambling, because there are ways that God set up in His kingdom. You know, the exponential curve will get you riches, but it'll take you 20, 30 years of slow increase. But is it wrong? Hey, you take a few bucks and put it down on the lottery. I mean, if you think you're going to win something, you're crazy. But if you, I mean, it's about what you'd pay for a hamburger, so I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay, this is Michael, who says, my adult son, who is married, has not been speaking to me lately, and he doesn't allow me to see my grandson. He currently has the same relationship with my parents, who are not Christians. My son claims to be a Christian, but he doesn't honor me or his grandparents. When Eli was very old, the Lord held Eli responsible for his son's bad behavior, and he punished Eli for honoring them above God. At what point do adults stop being responsible for their children's bad behavior?
You're responsible when he was a little kid growing up, and if you shaped him in the way he should have been, when he got old, he would still follow what you taught him. Eli's kids were sleeping with women in the temple. In other words, these were devout women who'd come into the temple, and these temple workers were having sex with them. And they were also stealing the offerings of the Jewish people. So Eli's sons were actually temple workers under his jurisdiction. That is a whole lot different of having a kid who's on his own out, you know, doing what yours is. I certainly would pray for him. I know it breaks your heart to see a child doing the way he is, and he will pay the price. I was reading today about what Jesus said about those who forgive, and, you know, if you don't forgive, it's a pretty serious matter. So those children, that, I don't know, children, child, whatever, they're going to pay the price big time, all right?
Yeah, this is a viewer who says, should we watch TV shows or movies that use God's name in vain? It's used so frequently these days. Should we ask for forgiveness if we do watch these shows? And also, how should a person ask for forgiveness?
You know, David said in the Psalms that I've said no vile thing before my eyes. There are just vile things going on all the time, and it's very hard to keep them away from you. The airways are filled with them. The moving pictures are filled with them. I don't know. It's a very difficult thing to get free of all this culture that we live in, because every time you turn around, it's drenched with sex, it's drenched with immorality, it is drenched with blasphemy. And I think, you know, as Martin Luther said, it's no sin to have the birds fly over your head. It is a sin when you let them nest in your hair, all right?
This is Shannon, who says, hi, I'm 14, and I grew up listening to rock music. Recently, I've been obsessed with the rock band. Some of their songs have some strange lyrics. Now, my dad is telling me that I should second-guess listening to their music. I love Christian music, too, but I find myself not letting go of my rock music because that's what I was born listening to. So can I listen to both rock and Christian music? Please help.
It depends on what rock you're listening to. I mean, some of the stuff is just evil. They used to talk about kill your parents, and there were just some evil things, and there were odes to Satan, and so you don't want that stuff coming into your mind. There's some beat that's out there that, you know, probably isn't all that bad, although in one Indian context, they were playing rock music, and the person said, why are you calling on the demons? Because that was the kind of music they used to you know, summon demons. So anyhow, again, the evil in the world is so pervasive that we just need to stay in prayer. We need to stay in the Word of God, and we need to have fellowship with one another. But the truth is, if we don't have any relation with that, we'll have to go out of the world. And, it's just, Paul said, I've got to eat with people who are idolaters, and if I don't, then I'll have to leave the world. So, that's the way we live. So the Lord understands that. All right.
This is Bonnie, who says, hi, I'm just starting to study the Bible and was confused by something Pat said on your show. He was saying that God's name was Lord and that it was the English translation of Yahweh. I thought Lord was a title, not a name. Then when I looked up God's name, it said Jehovah, which is the same as Yahweh. Lord is not his name, it's a title.
No, look, unfortunately, you don't know Greek and Hebrew, and it's Greek and Hebrew we're dealing with. There's a word Adon. Adon, Adonai. That is a title. It means governor. Your governor. God's name is He who causes everything to be. That's what the literal Hebrew means. And if you take the vowel pointings of Adonai and put them together with Yahweh, you get Yehovah, and that's where you get Jehovah. His name isn't Jehovah, but it is Yahweh. That's his name. Now, you take that name and somebody's, I will bless Yahweh, but instead of writing it Yahweh, the translators, they put capital L-O-R-D. I will bless the Lord. His praise will continually be on my lips. Well, they're talking about his name, but it's a translation into English, which is confusing. So, did that clarify things?
Well, you have to understand the languages to really get the
but you have to understand when you see capital L-O-R-D in the Bible, it is a English translation of the word Yahweh, which happens to be the name of God, the God we serve. Okay, next.
Okay, that's all the time we have for today.
Okay,
but
thank you.
Good questions. We appreciate those.